Have you heard the name of the haunted school? The story of the blood and bloodshed of goblins in the haunted school that no one can hear because of fear. Be with me until the end of this story, and I will tell you a bitter fate of young people. On a dark and rainy night, an old and dilapidated abandoned school was located on the outskirts of the city. Due to its dark and mysterious past, this school has always been a strange attraction for curious youngsters. But no one knew that inside that dilapidated building, there was a scary figure called a murderous ghost connected to a dark past. The ghost of the killer was a malevolent and cruel ghost who was looking for his innocent victims in this school. He always hesitated in the dark corners of the school, waiting for anyone who was looking for the secrets of this building to step on him. Adventurous boys and girls entered this school with excitement and fear in their hearts. They believed that these stories about the murderous ghost were just legends that spread fire around the house in the dark of night. But is it really so? One night, a girl named Emilia was walking alone in this abandoned school. He was a brave and curious teenager and had read stories about ghost killers. Emilia decides to see for herself if all these words are true or not. When Emilia enters the school, it is cold and dark. The sound of the deadly pumps of his shoes echoes in the heart of the school. Emilia carefully examines the old rooms, scrutinizing every nook and cranny. But there is no sign of the monster it wants for its victims. As Emilia relies on companionship and wanders away in the darkness, a voice suddenly comes from behind a corner of the room. A dark, desperate laugh fills Emilia with terror. He forgives as soon as possible. Next, a disturbance in the dark. Emilia turns in horror at the sound of laughter and puts her hands to her mouth to stifle a horrified scream. Involuntarily, he jumps back from where he was standing and falls to the ground. His heart beats at an unimaginable speed and fear overwhelms him. The laughter stops and is replaced by a funny, scary sound in the dark. Have you ever asked someone to kill you? Emilia heard a familiar and evil voice from the darkness. Shaken by terror, Emilia tries to get up and run away from this dark neighborhood. But his steps are lost in the darkness and he realizes that he is trapped. Another laugh comes from behind her, and Emilia realizes with fear that the ghost of the killer is looking for her. From that moment on, Emilia tries to escape from this school in any way. Near the windows and doors, he tries to open the windows or open the doors, but each time he is violently hit by the invisible hands of the murderous spirit. Every knock on the door or window will be in vain. He cries in the dark and calls for help, but his voice is lost in the middle of this abandoned school. Emilia is alone with the ghost of the killer. But he decides not to give up and tries his best to survive. Emilia experiences joy and fear in the dark. He has maxed out his inner self to fight this murderous spirit. Can he escape this dark capture and survive? In the infinite darkness of the room, Emilia was waiting for her fate with restless breaths. His heart was beating at a crazy speed and the feeling of imminent death was overwhelming him. But suddenly, a strange and mysterious voice comes out of the darkness. Emilia, are you looking for a way to escape? A voice with an evil and harsh tone rose from the heart of the darkness. From the look that Emilia casts towards the voice, a dark and curtained form of darkness emerges. A goblin with red eyes and a crazy laugh that makes Emilia laugh. I am here to take you to the same place I have taken all my victims. You are to become an immortal soul like them, the goblin says to Emilia in a voice full of fear and evil. Emilia becomes angry and determined for a moment. He sees the power of the goblins but decides to resist until his last moments. He knows he has to find a way to escape. At that moment, in the dark shadows, a new person enters the story. A brave young boy named Liam, who has observed this abandoned school from afar and has been looking for his friend Emilia. Seeing the goblin and Emilia's state, he decides to save her. Liam, with courage and confidence, moves towards the goblin. He is ready to stop the goblins with the sword he always carries. The goblin looks at Liam with a wide, wicked grin and says, "You're going to meet the same fate as Emilia." With quick thinking and decision-making, Liam throws his sword towards the goblin and attacks him with a quick movement. Liam throws his sword towards the goblin with an agile move. The sound of the sword's flash and the sound of it hitting the goblin's body are combined. But instead of causing pain, the goblin emerges from the dark flames with an evil laugh and charges towards Liam. Liam defends with his sword with all the effort and skill he has. He senses the power of the goblin, but is determined to save Emilia from the start. With every move, with every blow and with every attack, he tries to push the goblin back. But the goblins suddenly turn into dark shadows and disappear from Liam's sight. Liam looks surprised and looks away. In the semi-darkness of the room, he looks around and realizes that the goblin is carrying his slaves far from his sight. They stand around lifelessly, eyes filled with terror and pain, awaiting the goblin's orders. Seeing this scary sight, Liam is determined to save Emilia. He carefully examines the room and looks for a way to escape. Suddenly, his eyes fall on a door behind one of the dark cages. A door big enough for Liam to walk through. With nimble speed, Liam moves to the door and opens it. Emilia appears from the door with eyes full of fear and hope. Seeing Liam, she responds with mixed joy and fear, "Liam, I'm here. Please save me." Fearful and determined, Liam hugs Emilia and says, "Emilia, I'm here to save you. We have to escape this darkness and stop the goblins. But I don't think I can." Hand in hand, Liam and Emilia walk out of the dark room. They are still in the endless darkness of the goblin realm, still with a terrifying battle awaiting them. As time goes by, scary sounds and shapes attack them from all around. Horrors with supernatural powers and powers come after Liam and Emilia. They attack them through shadowy factions and glowing-eyed ghosts that are filled with madness and evil. Liam counters each attack with his sword, but each time one of the horrors is broken, two new horrors appear in its place. Emilia also tries to fend off the horrors with her powers. But it seems that no power is able to deal with these dark thugs. As these battles continue indefinitely and Liam and Emilia are nearing exhaustion, one of the horrors jumps at Liam with a powerful attack. With a quick, effortless movement, Liam thrusts his sword into the panic. But this time, the terror slips under Liam's sword in one slow motion and swears with fierce eyes. In a strange and terrifying voice, the horror declares, "You cannot defeat us. We have come to your world from this endless darkness, and no one can escape us." Liam and Emilia look at each other with eyes filled with fear and wonder as the words of horror begin. But at this moment, a bright light reaches them from one of the sides. A new character, a powerful sorceress with sparkling clothes and shining eyes, suddenly enters the scene. "Don't be afraid, I'm here to save you," he shouts. The sorcerer character quickly knocks the horrors to the ground using his powers. They slowly twist and fall away. Liam and Emilia look at the changes in amazement and thank the wizard. The wizard looks at them and says, "You have good forces, but you can't fight alone in this darkness. We need to make a plan to defeat these dark villains." Liam and Emilia look at each other and with a strong sense of determination and hope, they say, "We're ready. Tell us what to do." The wizard smiles and tells them, "The first step is to find the land that belongs to the strongest wizards. It's a place where we can build up our forces and prepare for the final battle." With passion in their eyes, Liam and Emilia take a step towards a bigger adventure. Together with the witch, they look for a way to overcome this darkness and save their world from it. This story is just the beginning. The battle between light and darkness continues, and the decisions and path that Liam and Emilia choose will determine their fate in the world. After finding the witch, Liam and Emilia trust her and follow her in hopes of saving their world. But what they don't know is that the witch is ultimately a malevolent demon who plans to drag them into a dark and deadly world. Continuing the journey, Liam and Emilia arrive at a dark and gloomy castle. With a mischievous smile, the wizard lures them into the castle. As they enter, the stone doors close right behind them and they are in trouble. In this dark and evil castle, the witch changes her appearance and appears in the form of a scary creature with a bunch of moving ashes. They are surprised to see this transformation and stand against him, but his evil power is irresistible. With one swift movement, he knocks Liam to the ground and throws Emilia into the corner of the room. Emilia looks closely at Liam with a scared look. He approaches Liam and calls his name with a tremor in his voice. But Liam is lying motionless on the ground and there are no signs of life in him. Emilia puts her hands to her chest and looks for answers with silent cries. But at this moment, something strange happens inside him. A shadowy figure steps out from among them and says in an evil voice, "Liam's dead and you're next." Emilia looks at the new creation and with a terrible fear in her eyes, she cannot hide from this fact. Trembling in bed, Emilia, with trembling hands and a heart full of fear, he faces the most terrifying truth. Emilia is shocked when the shadowy figure moves out from between them, revealing that Liam has transformed into this dark castle. With a harsh and evil voice, the shadow group grabs Emilia's arm and drags her to a corner of the room. Emilia tries to escape from the clutches of this demon, but her efforts are futile. He suddenly falls into the arms of a shadowy group and a scary laugh comes from him. At that moment, Emilia loses her senses and is seduced into a world of madness and evil. He loses control and becomes a mad being. The shadow group calls her more seriously against anger and evil, and Emilia commits brutal and violent actions. In this strange and scary situation, Liam has been killed and Emilia has gone mad. The dark and gloomy castle echoes with screams and rage as the two young men are forever in the clutches of demons. With endless bitterness and darkness, this part of the story brings pain and suffering to Liam and Emilia that may never end. I have to tell you that this was a true story from the heart of England and we change the names of people based on the rules of story writing. We are waiting for your criticisms and suggestions.